just to make sure that we know a couple of things we have been doing in theory. That's why I made sure these things are here. And we will not disturb the things that are near you. All of you have these manuals. This one. Read the third and second. Third year manual, then it should be second. Because now we are doing these experiments now. And so this is for analog electronics. This is for digital electronics. And then this one is the official second year electronics what was manual. The problem is the experiments in it are not many enough. They are only 8. Well, they would work in a way, but these are more inclusive. So if we can do 5 in each of the manuals, and even go beyond the 9 year to make them 10, the better. Well, what is 5? The time? Yes. Oh, we can do 2 every session. If it is the time problem. Or we can do them after exams. We can do the remaining ones after the exams. It's what? I have always been telling you that if there is anyone who would be happier when he eats money for free, I will be the one. Don't you think so? So I will not be so, if I was to use the projector, I had the presentation which I would have made sure that we follow chronologically, but now I will make sure that we look at the things we shall be using in the lab, know how they are used. Please don't block the way so that other people can, there is no way there, so you can flood this, but this way you should not make other people suffer. So first things first. There are some of the experiments that, or sometimes when you want to design a circuit, you may be doing it out of trial. Okay? So you are not going to get, for example, resistors, and then after getting the resistors, then you start tying them together. It would be. Mr. Kaumba Moses will be your guide in the practical. He's the technical man. So when you have any issues, whether with the oscilloscope, whether with a missing resistor, a missing capacitor, a not working breadboard, you want to burn something which you are not allowed to do, then he is the man to approach. But I will try to solve something for you so that you see in the future if you want to be in electronics how you do. So I cannot start getting these and tying them together. Remember when we talked of these resistors, we said we can either arrange them in parallel, assuming that I can put here a wire where they are connected, or we can put them in series by connecting them together. But you can imagine if you were to burn them with a solder wire, and then you are putting them in series, and then after your trial, you want to make sure that you break them and make them better. It would be almost impossible. That's why they brought the breadboard. This breadboard, you use it maybe mostly when you go to the digital part where you have to plug in some diodes. It has these holes, these small holes are very deep, much as you see them as if they are shallow, but I can plug in, if I can get a good hole. You can see if I put this one here, this is the match that you could think could go in. So let me see whether I can use another part. You see it has just disappeared there. That's how deep it is. So you can use it to put in a lot of components. Across like this, there is continuity. That is, if I connect here or here or here, it is one point. Don't worry about it. I'm just telling you now. When you happen to start doing it, it will be easier. Then across down like this, like the blue here, you can use it for power supply. You have your positive, your negative for blue. So now I have about 1, 2, 3 boards. So I can have my circuit here for many resistors, have another component of other components here, then use these two to supply in the power, and then get a wire here to here, and then play around with the resistances. Change them, make them in series, they don't work. I change, put them in parallel. It is until when I say now my circuit is perfect. And when it is perfect, then you get to what we call a printed circuit board. The printed circuit board is a piece of non-conducting wafer or material, and which is etched with conducting copper and made in a nice design. For this one, the coppers are moving upwards. So it means if I wanted to, for example, just like the breadboard was, so I'll just plug in my components. So if I can just put them like that, look for the 2 holes. So if I wanted to now put 2 resistors in parallel, I would use 2 holes here. So I have this line here and this line, meaning that if I put in any other 2 holes along here and here, these 2 would be in parallel. And then I would get a soldering gun, solder here. I'll solder one piece just to show you how soldering is done. So this session is to make sure that you do not mess up with things later on. After all, almost all the experiments which are analog, things are already soldered. So you're not going to kill anything, I'm not worried. They are already set up. If it is, for example, experiment 1, which is a rectifying circuit, as you can see, everything is already soldered. So you're not going to say, maybe I'm going to put, everything that you see here is on here. So the thing remaining is the power supply, which is on this transformer here is there. And then the output here, which will be measured using the input and output, which will be used in the oscilloscope. The oscilloscope is there. But all these other resistances, the different values we'll be using, and the diodes are already soldered. So this is going to be the easiest job we'll be doing. So if these resistances now the way they are in, to you they may look like they are all connected, but as you can see, this line is continuous, but this one is broken down. So it means if I wanted to make this resistor and this one in parallel, I have to connect this one to this one. Otherwise, they are not connected. Although this side, they are all connected. So you don't worry. Everything, almost all of the sets are already we eased your work. Otherwise, it should have been like this. Under normal circumstances, if you were serious students, don't be annoyed. If you were committed students, we would give you this, give you these components, all of them, and give you the oscilloscope, give you the power, the transformer, and then you will figure it out. How to make sure you arrange them here, then you produce the results on the oscilloscope, and then we smile. But we know if you were to do that, you may, burn a couple of things, although nothing here burns really. Diodes do not burn. We shall cover that in the coming weeks. Maybe the capacitor would be the only problem that may be burnt. Otherwise, most of the experiments are like this. So you are not going to be, that's why I said you are not going to be burning anything. But I wanted to show you that if you're already at home or anything, the wire goes off, you should be able to know how the technical people do it in town. If you can, instead of buying perfume or whatever, or Brazilian hair, you could buy this and do work on your own. And if you go back in the village, you can make some money by repairing people's things. Those which are simple, like a wire has just gone off, and you put it back. So we have capacitors in different forms. For example, this is a 63 volts, 1000 microfarad, which could be millifarad capacitor. See how huge it is in order to achieve that kind of value of millifarad. Imagine if you wanted a farad, probably it would be huger to get that. And that's why we say that capacitances are normally given in small denominations or small values. But you do not only find such kind of capacitors, you also will find such types of capacitors of this nature. Others even look more interesting like this. And here we have similar resistors, but you will find more resistors, more types if you want. But you are not going to be asking for, you are not going to be asking for many resistances in the coming weeks. Everything will be out there. Probably we shall make sure that it is tested before you come here, and then you will be able to work with it. So this one is a transistor. Sometimes we call it a power transistor. You can connect an aluminium plate here to make sure that it can give away the heat, because it heats up so much. So you find that in some circuits something is connected here. Just like this power supply has some metallic fins at the back. Okay, so I've rushed through this. This is an alloy. You studied an alloy in chemistry. A combination of, who can guess, the soldering wire, which two metals it is made of? Which two metals is this thing made of? Aluminum and what? Do you see any copper here really? When you look at it, do you see any copper? Do you see any signs of copper? Tin and? I don't know. But I just wanted to make sure that you remember that you were studying things not for fun, but actually they have a purpose. So we use this one to make sure that we solve the joints. And then we shall, thank you very much. So the thing I was showing you of these power transistors being, sometimes you will find such a thing being joined here. You find that, well, this is not for this, but you find that it is put here so that a lot of heat, being aluminum, it kind of is a highly conducting material. And you know, the more you conduct, the easier you also. So it's like a slot. It lights you quickly, chucks you very fast. And so it will conduct all the heat from this transistor, and then, you know, because of the fins, the way they are, the wind, and that's why most of these components, for example, here they tell you to have enough aeration, ventilation, to make sure that there is enough aeration inside, and that is to make sure such a thing works fine. Okay. In the future or soon after these small introductions of Thevenins, Moultons, and some AC, we shall go to semiconductor physics, which is all about the diodes. I've already showed you the diode on the diodes here, these ones. But then we also have those diodes which emit the light, which are called light emitting diodes. You've seen people saying LED TV, LED TV, or LED, what are LED things? Yes, LED watch, then they tell you LED display, etc. It's because it has a bunch of light emitting diodes. And then we have the, so you use these ones in the digital electronics section when we look at logic gates. And they will help in giving you the light, so that you know when it gives light, you know there is some 1 or 0. No light, 0, light, 1. Remember when we were having introduction, we said that the digital electronics has 2 states. Then you'll be working with transistors. I'm sure you'll burn most of these, because you don't follow instructions. And then you'll suffer with the experiment, getting no results, until when the technician probably comes and then tests and finds you have killed it. So before you switch on your circuit, make sure you have read the instructions. And much as we cannot supervise each of your sets to see whether you have connected rightly, please try to make sure that you are cautious. Have I put all these in the order they should be? Have I connected these other parts in the way they are supposed to be? And like I used to say it in first year, you don't need to tie any wires. Everything is already set, so we have for you the wires. So if you wanted to connect this resistor on this main circuit, probably you just plug in. So I need nomenclature. Black for ground or negative, and then you put the other one on the other, depending on where you are putting it. You don't need to tie anything. So that's how easy it is. You just plug in, and you plug the other side, depending on where you are interested in plugging. This lab should be enjoyable if you really put in effort to make it enjoyable. Now you know the breadboard. You don't know how it works perfectly, but you know how it looks like. If you were to find it somewhere or see it on the internet, you wouldn't cast that, what is that animal? And I'm lucky that the technician got us one which is having the components already on it, so you can now at least see how you can play around with the breadboard to put on the components and be able to try to test something. I'm not sure that this is a mic vibrator.
Yeah.
This is a mic vibrator, which is the principle of the traffic lights, and then you will be having the green and red light, and your time T is equal to RC. Is it RC or 1 of RC? You would be able to make sure you can either elongate the time for the green or elongate the time for the red. But you know those are traffic lights. But you have seen these lights in town, which I talked about, like the one of UAP at Ginger Road, traffic lights of better, simple life. I'm not sure the order. The way they light in sequence, you can connect these many. You'll get us the other board, the poster. You can connect the reds in one section, connect the greens in one section, or the reds for one group and the other reds for the other group, and you let them light in a sequence. And we had one, he's going to get us the board where we did one of them in one of the exhibitions, where we had our poster of welcome to physics department. So it would light in a sequence. Welcome to physics department. Welcome to physics department. And so you can make money. It's not about just doing the electronics and then you go out there and start hustling and crying that there are no jobs. You can make for people posters which are electronic. Welcome to this nice club. Or you even you have seen these things which go around like this, lighting all over, and some people just want to be there to enjoy the evening because of the lights. But when you tell them physics, they say, I don't like physics, but they are enjoying physics and whatever. So at least now you are able to see how the whole thing is arranged on a breadboard. These resistances. So depending on if I wanted to connect this part here, I would have to put it around here because across it is not connected. I will show you how that one actually is. I want to be done in 2 hours, so that's why I'm speedy. So these frames, you have used them before. Thanks so much. I can now you will see. I will first show you this side, then I will turn the other side so that you see the logic behind. Because the problem is it doesn't have the we don't have the transformer that we could put it. We had wanted to make sure it is always there at the departmental entrance, but because of the so you saw this circuit, and it means if these were to light in a sequence, that at one point red is lighting, then it goes off, green lights, and the process continues. It means if I put parallels, reds which are parallel, and made them make a word, they would all light at once if they have enough power, enough current. And then instead of the other green, another set would also light. And if I can make sure that sequence is going for all of these, then I would be able to have these letters for welcome, lighting at once, to then physics department. You get the point? And to make things easy, we are going to look at the other side and see whether it is actually true. So this is the hustle behind it. You have a network of all these legs soldered together, and to make sure that a word is complete for one set. And then you have another word, and then eventually you put in the supply from the vibrator. So are you still worried of jobs? Yes. We got one. Okay. So then the power, all these tables have power, and it originates from these feeds. So when you come in here, most likely you'll find that the cable here is removed and switched off. So when you are coming in and you're going to start, if the technician hasn't switched on, if I haven't switched on, I'm telling you these things so that you have a smooth lab. Not come in here and then start fidgeting. So was he part of us? So things became hard for him. So the power supply is here. You plug in the cable, switch downwards, and then all these table sockets would be powered. So, in a couple of experiments, I don't think they will be using this for most of the things. Not all will be using this, but I'm sure when you are measuring the base, the collector, and the meter currents, you'll be using these meters. And I tried to explain them in we don't have these new blue ones, which are on the other side. So this is a multimeter, and the multimeter from the word multi means many. And as I said last time, it's up to what you want to measure. So for example, multi means many. But I'm going to demonstrate one simple thing. Common means ground or negative, so I'll put in ground. If I am going to measure current in milliamperes, I put here. In up to 20, I put here. But if I'm going to measure any other thing, either voltage or resistance, I put in here. So I'm going to put it for resistance, and the reason why it is here, when it is facing here, it means that you can check for continuity. And I'm putting it there for the reason that I show you the continuity of this breadboard. So if I can switch it on, if I put these ones together, it should make noise, I guess. So the noise means that it's continuous. There's no resistance, it's continuous, that's what. But what does it help us? It helps the technician, or it helps you as an electronics person to know whether your circuit is continuous. Like if you are trying to check where the problem is. So you say the spring where the batteries are, I'm just talking about like a small radio. You put on the spring where the radio is, and then first go in the circuit and see whether the wire from the batteries goes to the circuit. It makes noise, you know that is continuous. So you know that is good. You go into the circuit and say this should be going to this other resistor. You put, it makes noise, you know it is continuous. Until when you find there is a break somewhere. Okay? So let me check for the continuity of I'm going to demonstrate the continuity of this breadboard. And I told you that along here it is continuous. So if I put a wire here, continuous, okay, continuous. You are interested. So I will check for the continuity here. So it means that now I should be able to, if I put the here and here, I think these are two portions. I have to be near here first and check and confirm. It could be that there is one section here, another section there, but let me first check, then be able to. Okay, there is a discontinuity here where the mark is here to make sure that you have a bunch of boards. So like you can take this section to be alone, this section alone, so, and that goes on for the others. But as you can see, on this red line, in these of the holes here, even when I jump just a step here to here, and I've crossed to the other section, there's discontinuity. But when I put it back here, it means this whole line here, whether I plug a wire here, there. So you can imagine how many components can be supplied by this line because of the holes. But if I put this wire neighboring on the next hole of the negative, and I put here, nothing. So these lines for positive and negative, they are continuous downwards. But these lines here are continuous across. So if I put here and I put in the same line here, it's continuous. So all these holes are continuous. But if I put neighboring here, downwards, there is no continuity. Maybe I need to touch them when you are all seeing so that you do not say I am touching on the side. So it means it's up to you on how to arrange your resistors, your capacitors. Even if they are in two neighboring holes, you are not worried that they are going to touch each other. They can't. So across here, on each of this section, across continuous, downwards discontinuous. On the supplies plus and minus, downwards continuous, across discontinuous. And then it's up to you. What they call innovation is how nice you can arrange your things here, then visualize it in your mind and say this one will go this side, this one will go this side, until when you actually come up with a circuit that does what you want to do. You get the point? So the breadboard is for people who are trying out circuits, and after they have actually seen that their circuit is working, then they can go to a manufacturer who prints for them. This one is for also purposes of experiments and the like. But you can go to an industry, design the circuit on the computer, and then it prints. The machine prints out following the... you know, nowadays you can print even my face using a 3D printer. You just put in the materials, put on the sketch that you want it to print, and then it prints out. And I think there is a lady who was trying to make some of the components, solar components, like a regulator, by printing the covers. Maybe in the future the university can get one and you start producing. All these things are made, these power supplies are made by Chinese children, Chinese students. Their projects are these ones, which we eventually buy. Pardon? You mean, when you say we, you mean who? You say we are going also to start. You cannot say, how many years are you left with? You are not left with many years to come. So you can't say we, unless if you wanted to start. Okay. My speed is too much, but I will manage. So I have used this part here to demonstrate the continuity, at least to show you the continuity of the breadboard. Okay, the formation of the breadboard. Now, depending on what you want to measure, as I said, you have to turn this to the right place. This whole green stuff is for resistance, so you will be having an ohmmeter. From here, 200 to 200 mega ohms or 200 million ohms. That range, you'll be dealing with an ohmmeter. When you come down here and you turn from 200 milli, and this is direct because of the line and dotted lines or dashed line, From 200 millivolts up to 1000 volts or 1 kilovolts, you would be dealing with a voltmeter. When you turn it on the yellow part from 200 milli to 750 and wave, you'll be dealing with AC, still in the voltmeter. If you come here, HFE is for the transistor. The technician will be able to help you, but you wouldn't be in need of any of this. He will be able to check all the transistors if he needs to replace any. If you wanted to find any capacitance, this is now, I don't know, how do we call the one which measures capacitance? Capacitometer. Whatever it is called, but you will be measuring the capacitance. We go to the ammeter for amps direct and AC current. That's why we call it a multimeter, because it has many meters. And that's it. And it's called a digital meter because you have a digital display. There is nothing in between. It's either a 0, a 2, a 5, a 6. You cannot get a 5, 6. It cannot light in a shade. It has to be exactly that one. It's not like a watch where you see and say, it's about 6:30, 30 something. It has to be 31 or 32 or 30. Okay. So we talked about the current source and voltage source when we were in class. And as you can see here, we have one DC power supply with two meters showing you that here you can get the volts, here you can get the current. And the whole of the other stuff is a network of components. I don't know what is inside here. He knows. He has opened a bunch of them. But I'm sure there are a bunch of these many things. There are a bunch of capacitors, a bunch of resistors, a bunch of diodes, a bunch of capacitors, a bunch of transformers, blah, blah, inside here. And that's why we were talking of impedances. We were not restricting ourselves on the concept of resistance, but we were talking of impedances because, as you can see already, we've got a bunch of capacitors and resistors inside this whole network, the LC, the linear network we talked about. And then that means we can actually play around with this and be able to produce either the current or talk about being the voltage. And if you must have, if you could have gone to do some examples, you realize that our RS shouldn't be 0 if you are for the case of the current source. Because if it is 0, then you have a meaningless current source. He gave me a bunch of other things here, but it's all about the components. All I'm trying to show you is that I'm sure when this course is done, you'll not be the same. Pardon?
Let's hope so.
Are you still the same since when we started? At least for today? Now you can touch a resistor and you are not worried of breaking it. Unlike in secondary where you find things done and they say, do not touch before you are told. And then they get a piece of paper and put on top of a resistor and find X. You don't even know what the hell is inside. And then once you draw the graph, you don't even know what, you couldn't even do like this to people, whether it was a 5 ohm or something. And then you get a value, then you all go out and say, how much did you get? It was 10. I got 10. And you 11. And you 9.5. Then another one, maybe the one who always is noisy, maybe got like 5.5 and said, and I did it well. But when the resistor was coming, okay, so I am going to demonstrate the oscilloscope, and then after the oscilloscope, I entertain some questions, and then after entertaining some questions, just want to show them the.
We have a
We shall get some time when you are doing the experiment itself to make sure that you understand it. But I will demonstrate theoretically. So I will do experiment 1 for you, and maybe we'll deduct 5 marks from each of you. Because I would have done it. So I don't do it. I like how you how you are tripping about it. So if I am to deduct, I shouldn't do.
Can I take this maybe?
So I'm going to show you the soldering bit, but I will upload for you the PowerPoint presentation that I should have given before doing this, so that you see how it is done in a nice way. If I burn myself, don't laugh. Don't laugh at me. Okay. So I already have the, since I have no help, I will have to, should I burn myself just to demonstrate? I like myself. So if there's what they call if you have, you've put your components like this, it's appropriate put your solder. I'll try to be, I don't take wallet, so if I shake, don't say I take wallet. I may shake because I fear this for burning me. So I will, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be having a place where I am putting this and then, but in the interest of making sure that I show you, I need to, but also you can be in situations where you are in a bit of fix, where you can't have somebody to help you. In other words, this should be on this other side, and then you make this one go on this other side. And then when you solder, when you melt it, you raise your soldering gun a bit to make what they call a volcano, kind of a volcano. Should be like a small hill. That's the perfect joint. So I will do that, and just like I said, don't laugh when everything shakes. So I want to make a joint here. I will melt it. I should have put it on the other side. Oops. I am up here. I should have made it. This is not the best, but it should have been. And mine has gone into two of them. Okay, I tried. I'll try the other bit as well, but this time I'll do it down so that it becomes the way it should be. What is the gel we first put there to make sure that we have the gel that is put there? So I have made two of them, not so perfect, but just to be able to show you there are two of them. One I was fidgeting and shaking. The other one here is not also perfect. You are not supposed to put all this much, and it shouldn't cross to the other line. But the most important thing, it should be volcano-like. It should be, kind of going flat towards the board and then pointed towards the wire. And then you can chop off this, and then you have nice bits all over. I wish maybe in instrumentation, if I was to be in instrumentation, we would do more of this before your part. And then on this other side, you see your resistor being there comfortably without any problem. But this is done after you have put it on the board here. After that circuit is well put there, because the way the lines are there is the way the lines are printed here. And then you arrange them, you solder them, you cut off these bits. After cutting them off, you are done. So you shouldn't be scared when you take your radio to a mechanic, and then you are like, when it starts burning, you extend to make sure that you don't get burned. We are not going to solder anything, at least for, and I'm sure even when it comes to the project in the future, by the time you solder it, you may not even need to solder for purposes of, if you can actually arrange it on the board and it works perfectly, you wouldn't be required that much to solder everything. So we have the .com oscilloscopes and the judger. So for us we use these ones. It was interesting. This lab was always interesting. It would be like having a field trip. So this is the control panel, and whatever you are controlling will be shown on the display. The rest you know. The CRT is in here. The cathode ray tube. If you peep in, no, this one has no peep in, but if you peep in somewhere here, you'll be able to see it actually. But I'm sure their football is spoiled one, which if they wanted to see, you can always see it. It will be really so hard for me to show you how it works completely and everyone understands because of the way you are far away and whatever, but I'll try my best to just give a preview. So we have here power, which is power. We can change intensity, and we can also change intensity here. We can change the focus. You can also change focus, but here you find that you can do many things with one button. On the same button doing different things, because here you have changed something. But I will first start here. Can I get the somewhere from this transformer here? So I can change, if I can change the intensity is about the light. As you can see, there is either light, or I can change the intensity to as small as, as minimal as possible, and then it has disappeared. And so you can focus here. I can focus and make it more focused. If I put it out of focus, it looks as fake as this. If I put it in focus, I have to look for where it is so bright that I'm doing well. And then these are time pad vision, and so I have time pad vision is here. This is for the voltage. And voltage, channel 1, channel 2, then time pad vision. Who knows what it means by time pad vision? If I had just time pad vision, what would I be changing of a given waveform? There? What is related to time? So when I change this time pad vision, you see I can change the frequency. I can change the frequency. It can be, see how I have changed it to be as if it is more speedy, or more slow, and more, or too slow. So this one is a generator here for AC, but this one is a generator for the waveforms. So the other one can normally give us the AC, and then we can turn it into DC, but this one can give us a sawtooth, give us a square, and a sinusoidal. So you can see when I change here the frequency, I've changed the frequency. That's the idea of the time pad vision. And position down. Okay, let me first finish with my ancient one, and then I go to the so we are having, don't look here for now, let's look at this one. These oscilloscopes are a bit erratic. You may connect and then the thing continues moving instead of being static. This, you can see this one, if I kind of triggered it, auto set, and it has auto set, you see it becomes a bit stable. These ones are a bit erratic. You try to, you want to measure, then it keeps as if it is moving this side. If I may increase a bit of intensity, and then you should be able to hold it somewhere. There is a button for holding. This, I think, this one here, where you can. It takes a lot of skill sometimes. It should be able to turn somewhere and then it stops moving. But then you find you have to be a bit. Almost there. Like it keeps moving. Fine. So that's the kind of erratic behavior that sometimes we exhibit. But normally, for such kind of waveforms that we get, we are not interested in either the movement or not moving. We are most times interested on the peak-to-peak value. From here to the top here. So even if it was this bad or this bad like this, it wouldn't matter as long as you can be able to measure from the bottom to the top. Because if you are interested in VPP, the peak-to-peak voltage, you are not interested in whether it is moving this side or moving. Yes. So you shouldn't hustle so much to get a nice looking waveform like this because of the that I want to make sure it looks like this when actually you are interested in measuring from bottom to the top. So this is the channel here, channel 1, channel 2, and then you have the one I've been talking about of frequency, changing the frequency, which is the time per division. You have the hold off, and you have the one to slide the thing either left or right. So if I can put it back into this form, if I wanted to move the after it has stopped, assuming it has stopped, the technician will be helping you to make it stop completely. He's their boss, so they know him very well. Okay. So if I was to measure peak to peak, or like if I wanted to measure this lambda, if you remember in the waves, I can move the waveform this side or move it this side using this button. So this button is able to move it horizontally. I can, this channel now is dysfunctional because it is not connected to any signal. So, but this one is connected, so I can move it up and down using this button here for up and down. I can change I can magnify it. So this is why it is called volt per division. Amplify your whatever, but make sure that you take keen interest on where it is pointing. So for example, the button here shows it is at 10, and then I would be able to measure, to put it at the beginning here, and these are 2 boxes, so I'll be having 2 boxes times 10, and I'm in a section of, this is volts per division, millivolts per division, so I would be having about 20 millivolts. No, this is volts per division. So I'll be having 20 volts because of these 2 divisions. Because now here it is pointing at 10 past each division here. So when I change to 5, it means there will have to be more here, so that I still get 10. Okay, so because here it was at 10, I only had 2 of them. At 5, I'll be having 1, 2, 3, 4 to maintain 10 volts, 20 volts. So this one helps you in that form. And the other bits of adding 2 of these waveforms or not adding them, those ones we shall learn on the job. So we are here always to make sure we demonstrate to you. So when you are doing the practical, we go around the technicians and the people who are supposed to be in this lab. And then when you have an issue, you should be able to be helped. But when you are on the experiment, I'll be demonstrating in each of the experiments. Like for those who will be using the oscilloscope, I'll be trying to make you. So this is analog. This also looks like analog, but a bit digitized. It has two options of analog and digital, but this is completely analog. You just turn, and you are lucky that when you turned, it made a click, and that's it. But here you are able to read and know the value. This is a bit, I can't say technical, but it has a menu whereby you can always, I can put off, if I put that, you can alternate between digital and analog. When it is in bluish, it is digital. When it is in greenish form, it is analog. But do you see any difference? If I can make it this way, this is analog. So what do you think would happen when I make it a digital?
It will be a continuous.
What do you mean by continuous? So if I put it in a digital format, it will just give me what should have been, what the waveform should be. Analog, it will be showing me how the electrons are moving. The digital part would be showing me the path of electrons, period. You get the idea? So the menu here, there is a menu here. Every time you want to make sure you solve a few things, you just press the auto set. There is help. At one time you could get a memory stick or a USB stick and download your waveforms, and there was a possibility that you can print them. That's another story. You also have two channels, channel 2 and channel 1. And then you have a source where you get in the whatever, or you can have an auxiliary output from somewhere else and put in here. You can activate the cursors and say I will use the cursors to make sure that now the position, you can see I cannot, this is the channel I'm using, I cannot now move the waveform because I activated the cursors. Instead, if I wanted now to make sure I use the channel, I first remove go back and go to channel 1 or channel 2. Now when I use this, I can move the channels. I don't know whether you get the difference. Whereas here I'm able to use to move around the cursors. Here I can only move the channels. But when I activate the cursors here, so anything that shows up here can be activated by these buttons. And if I wanted to do the measurement, cursor measure, if I wanted to measure, for example, the frequency or the voltage, so which one do you want me to measure? Frequency or voltage? Okay, I've put it at the voltage. So if cursor measure, did I choose the voltage? I chose it. And so the cursors you see, do you see anyway? Are you seeing? I now can be able to move the cursor to the top. If I can just make it a little bit bigger and make it a little bit like this. So I now can be able to move the cursor to the top here and also move and know the voltage from here. So the other cursor here can be put on the bottom here and the value will be able to show here. Free. And you can do that for either the rise time, the frequency, the time, the ratio along the X or the ratio along the Y. It's a nice oscilloscope. If only you can, maybe I will put for you the manual way so that you can peruse through, so that when you come in the lab at least you know how much it can do. It is a very nice one. It's a computerized one which could have been able to be good, but mostly students, you don't want to read and understand. How many of you read manuals of your phones? Actually, some of you just know yes, off, and then I'll look for an app, then click or tap on it. If the app gets spoiled, then you are like, now what's this? You even just like on election day, people were removing batteries and putting back to see whether there is a problem with their Facebook. Questions? You can, so we are feeding in a sinusoidal. You can go ahead and feed in a sawtooth, because this is a signal generator. It generates for you the signals. You can change the I'm not sure why it is not, yes, it works. You can change its amplitude right from the source, but of course, as you here also you can change the amplitude. I mean, you can amplify the signal, and you can also get a square wave. These ones going up normally don't seem to be seen, but they are there. So when you are drawing, you make sure that you make them to be seen. If I can just make it more focused. And intensity, I'll change to more brighter. And I remove the menu. And then I try to make it a little bit bigger. Well, it doesn't really become. So the parts here, the parts going up here don't show. Maybe I try the digital version. The digital version is a bit better than the analog version. But you see, it keeps making that thing. So you shouldn't have really a lot of problems. I forgot one bit of how to present your reports. I forgot the instructions in the office, but I can still talk about them before I finish. But now that I'm almost done with whatever was put here, any questions on these things? Then I will talk about the report writing. I'm talkative, so I can talk the whole day, but now I give you a chance to talk. Yes.
Is everything manually connected for every experiment? What
Pardon? Talk. You talk loud. Don't you talk. When you reach to that point, you reduce the. You talk like a man. So you think we are going to come and put wires for you, and then you become observers, or what? Yeah, you are here to spoil things and learn, so that when you go out there, you know that things get spoiled. Yes? Which experiment is that? Huh? It must be written on the circuit. Huh? What is it in the manual? You have a manual, isn't it? Well, this is the gentleman. This is the connection we managed to make for you. This one. This is the match we could do for you. And with this match, we know you can't spoil anything. With this match connection we did, we are sure you cannot spoil it. So you will get this, put it on the table, and then make sure it looks like the one in the book. And then you confirm that actually everything is the way it should be in the book. Once you have confirmed, then you start. I beg you should always start from the power supply to the end. it becomes easier. But you should not connect this power supply until when you are done with everything, because it is just a matter of putting. There are no slots here for power supply. You should not put in power before you finish connecting. So it's all about looking at where they are saying put this wire here, you put it there, and then, for example, E1. Are you able to look at E1? Experiment E1. Because it is this one I have, so it would be easy for me to demonstrate to you. Remember, we've already agreed that I will take away how many marks? 5. Well, I mentioned, since you are denying my argument with you, I mentioned. So if you are at E1, as an example, you have that wave thing, AC mains is somewhere where I have put this one here. So this one is connected to AC mains, or probably the other side, or on your tables. My AC mains is this one. Okay? And then I have connected that this transformer here, which is this baby here. Okay? So I know that one is done. I know where it is. And then they are saying that from those terminals, I go to diode 1. So I look for any of these diodes, and I can see they had been sort of labeled, but you only need to know where the diode is. And the diode has that strip on the right hand side, and that strip is meant to be, and the challenge we are going to have, we were doing electronics after we have already finished the course, but then after a long time, which was a bit also disadvantageous. You have already done exam, forgotten, you are doing the practicals. So the logic was not appropriate. The disadvantage with you is that you are going to be doing an experiment of transistors when we haven't even seen the diodes. So it's a challenge, but also we cannot, it's better than not doing anything. And that's why in the beginning I was going through the whole course as an introduction, to make sure that you have an idea of why do we study this, why do we study that. You get the point? Okay, I'm assuming that you are now comfortable. We are not going to babysit you. We want you to be men and women. And the list is nice. Each group has a lady. So I don't think there is any two. If you are two ladies on a group, please alert me so that I can swap very fast. Moses, yes. The other photocopy of the report, right? Do you have a copy? Just want to use one for demonstrating. They can get the copy later. So yes, the arm of Carole Bow.
Why do we check continuity and discontinuity?
Why do we?
Check continuity and discontinuity.
On these circuits, or the way I was explaining it?
The way you explain.
Because circuits use current. Current is the main part of any circuit in electronics. And currents are not, they don't know magic. They do not jump. So they have to go through a continuous path. So if you have any difficulty with the circuit, the only problem must be discontinuity, where current cannot be able to move. So if you can be able to identify that place, then you give it the path and enable the continuity. And then you get your circuit done. And you know very well that switches are affected by either making it continuous or making it discontinuous. Don't call me continuous and And I'm always confident that students cannot get a name to give me because there are a lot of things I say that you don't eventually get one thing that you can call me. It's only well where I'm so consistent, so I'm sure you will call me well, but I'm very sure you won't get any other word to call me because there are going to be too many. Any other questions? I'm just going to conclude with the report writing and then I'll be done. Was it helpful? Yes. It's important that I ask, otherwise my efforts would be useless. Don't spoil things here because the money you pay cannot even buy this. Your collective fees for your 3 years cannot buy this. So don't spoil it. If I tell you the amount, you may break the background proofs to come for that. But fortunately, even if you take it, no one can buy it from you. The what? What if you meet a part-time and who is coming from here and you are selling property of the government of Ghana? Well, even if you rob, we know we are the ones who have this type. Are you using Tambo because of the concept of the government of Uganda, or you'll be required to write your report? Of course, you have to begin with the title. I think you did all this in the first year. In the first year, I don't have the first year money, but you are supposed to be having the title. Of course, you have to have your name. So now you are many names, 5 of them. So you must make sure you have your names, 5 of them. And then registration numbers, student numbers, and you must sign. Don't sign for the one who was not there because this time I'll be having a camera here for all the sessions. I'm going to buy a new hard disk just for laptops. So I'll be having the camera here for all the sessions. If you put a friend who was not there right there and you sign for them, you will be leaving your own grave. And of course, it is appropriate that you put the date when you did that experiment. So you have the title of experiment. You'll get these guidelines later. By Monday, we shall be having copies for everybody. And then for you, you also get, but I'll put also a copy on So that is the first thing you have to do. Put the title of the experiment. Tell us the aim. We already know from the book, but remember when I'm marking this, it's better to see what we are looking for. And then affirm. I'm not going to put the other bits, so the aim of the experiment should be clearly stated. And then the apparatus. Affirm the apparatus, whether it was there. It's important. You might find that the oscilloscope wasn't working, and then you've got another way of measuring your whatever. Maybe you use the multimeter to measure the voltages instead of using an oscilloscope. And an oscilloscope is basically to show you the values and behavior of signals at given points. And then in the way of how the steps you are going to be going through in form of procedure. And then after giving the procedure or the method as a brief description of how your experiment was carried out and how you took the observations and how you made the measurements, then you acquire results. And results are normally in the form of a table. You mention the error readings that you had. And for example, current, you find you are having like plus or minus 0.5 grams, base voltage VB about 0.1 volt, plus or minus 0.1 volts. And also if there are any other error calculations that you have to do, you work them out. If the experiment comes out as you wished, or nevertheless as you didn't wish, you still need to give what we call a conclusion. And then you conclude and you say, I think the experiment did not come out the way it was supposed to come out. Or the experiment came out as it was unexpected. And you may give reasons why. Maybe your transistor blew and then they brought another one after 2 hours. Or maybe the oscilloscope is colonial and it couldn't be able to give you the part. That is the guidelines. The first guideline is about the format of the practical report. But also, you need to know something about the power supplies. Like I intimated in the, or like I demonstrated in first year. I know you don't remember, but these power supplies are not perfect. In the first place, they are analog. Okay? So if you adjusted it and it gave you 5 volts here, it would be prudent to use a digital multimeter to confirm the value before actually drawing the voltage or the current from here into your circuit. Okay? So it may be that nice that if they are saying supply your experiment with 5 volts, don't just turn and say I can see 5 volts, then you plug in there. Use a multimeter to make sure that you have that required voltage. Because if it is too much, it may spoil the experiment. Even when it is too little also, it can spoil the experiment. But normally in electronics, that plus or minus is always good enough to avoid things from spoiling, I mean from getting spoiled. Do not rely on the meters, on the power supplies. They are often faulty. And you see some kind of screw on the front, which normally people put in something sharp to adjust to the zero error. Always switch off the power supply while connecting. Do not connect when your power supply is on. In other words, do not connect the power supply before you are done with connecting your circuit. The other one are the CROs, cathode ray oscilloscopes, these boxes here. The cathode ray oscilloscope can be used to display waveforms. You saw them. We had a sawtooth, sinusoidal. It can be used to measure the peak to peak, which we call the amplitude, from down to the top of the waveform. And I tried to show you how it can be done. You can also be able to use them whereby you are able to look for this value here. You can also be able to look for the T, the period, and 1 over T will be equal to the frequency. So you can do all those things from this oscilloscope. But this one can give them to you directly when you activate the cursors. So when you activate the cursor and say cursor measure and choose to measure frequency, when you put the cursor on the peak to peak, it will give you the frequency directly. If you put the cursors at the bottom and at the top, it will give you the peak to peak voltage automatically if you have chosen the concept to be, the measurement to be that of voltage. Sometimes you may be asked to show the phase relationships. If you had two waveforms which are in phase, for example, if we were having the sinusoidal, and as we have in the sinusoidal, if I have to use these two channels, and I also said, so we got these two waveforms, and having these two waveforms, I may be able to make them a little bit bigger. We may want to know the phase relationship of these ones, but definitely these are two similar waveforms. They are all being fed from the same place, so we expect them to be in phase. In phase means that they can be superimposed on each other, and you wouldn't actually know that anything is wrong. If I put my fingers together like this and I'm very nice, I can arrange them nicely, you may not see the other hand. So we can, but if I adjusted them towards each other and I made sure that they cover each other, it's hard. If you didn't see me do it, it's hard for you to really believe there are two waveforms sitting on each other. And that one, we say that they are in phase because they come together, but you are not going to show that phase by drawing them sitting on each other. That means if we had one of them being, for example, voltage, like for the resistor, and either in inductor or capacitor in series, in AC circuits, okay? In alternating currents, they are in phase. Current and voltage are in phase. It's only the value that changes, but actually they are in phase. So if I made one of them bigger from here, if I say for the other phase too, I have either the R which makes it bigger. This one, if I now made one bigger, oh this is too big, let me make the other one small. If we had an RC circuit, you would still have both of them being in phase, but one having a smaller amplitude. And the concept is that if I tried to move this one on top here, they would all share the same peaks. Their peaks would be the same, but their amplitude is different. One is IR, the other one is, okay, if you, V is equal to IR, and then if you add I equal to I naught sine omega t, then the other one would be I naught R. So the V naught would be equal to I naught R, but I would be, I naught would be equal to, for example, we can say is one of the voltage increases by a factor of R compared to the current. So that's why you see one of them is being smaller. If this was for the voltage, this one was the current. Now, or I think the reverse, because this is small, this should be current. Now, that is for the circuit of the resistor. For example, in AC circuits, the current and voltage are in phase. So how do we draw them? we do not draw them in this data form. We draw each of them in its own right and make sure that they share the same time axis. I mean, they have the same time axis. I mean, not same, but there are two of them, but they share the same, how do you call it? Vertical or y-axis? Well, vertical axis, because you're going into y. But because if you go to 3 dimensions, it doesn't mean that the one which is up is y. So that means you let them share the same vertical axis, have one of them with your t there. If this was the v, you have it as that. And then you draw the other one here with your t. If this is our I, then you have, I am sure this is smaller. Just like it is on the oscilloscope. Now when you are asked for the phase relationship on the oscilloscope, those two are in phase. But assuming that they were moving out of phase, whereby the other one goes a little bit a step away, then I should have drawn this more to the top. Then you measure this part here. This is your delta t. And then you can get the phase as the phase delta being the same as, okay, delta t over the whole time for a cycle would be the same as the phase you are looking for over the whole, the total angle for the whole cycle, which would be the same as 360 degrees. And then you can calculate for, if you wanted, you could use this one as over 2, if you are a person of readiness. And then the fourth section, this was Sierra was and how we can use them. The fourth section would have been the resistance. And probably we shall have this section here demarcated for resistor ports. Resistance for black, brown, we have already covered all that section. Remember? Okay, so I guess that rounds it for today. This session goes up to 6. I see people tickling their bells. As if, yes, I said that I will be going for 2 hours, but because those are my official hours for being in the lab. But where are you going? Okay, anyway, any questions? So the rules of the game are that never be late beyond 15 minutes. You are late beyond 15 minutes for a session, and our session starts at 2. Monday session 2 will also be starting at 2. You come beyond 15 minutes, I will not even hear you. Whether there was jam, whether the food was served late, I will not hear you. In the first year lab, much as I was a coordinator, I was always nice. Sometimes some of you would sneak in. But here, a quarter past, beyond a quarter past, your friends will hand in for you, but you get a Zoom. Those are the rules of the game. Do we sign? But if you have a genuine reason, like you are carrying your leg in your hands, I will allow you to come and you do the project. I will not be so egoistic. In other words, I'm saying try as much as possible to be here early so that you can always finish. I hate always signing on papers that you didn't finish, you come and finish. that you did not complete cannot complete. That's one. Second rule, all these things are found on the internet. There is no special thing we do here that has never been done or is not accessible. Go on the internet, well, before you come for a practical, know what you expect from a practical. I will not penalize you. Don't come with the results, but come knowing what you are trying to prove. Because the reason we come here is to prove what we studied in theory, or to supplement the theory. I'm not saying that you come here and invent something. You are coming here to make sure that you put into practice of what you studied in theory and make it practical. So research, get information, come here when you know what is expected. But let you be able to see it happen. Get the idea? Yes. That is rule number 2. The third rule, choose a nice secretary who can write things that when I'm reading I also smile. Or when my kids look at it, they don't laugh at me, how my students write fakely. Now you are marking and they ask, who wrote these things? The university students. Anyway, try to make sure that your reports are reports, that they represent you. You get an idea? The other rules will be, the other rule is make sure that all above are observed. If there are no questions, yes.
Is it that you put up the list showing us the expected number of people?
Sure. The list which you've seen with those bold is a group and bold is a group. So the bold, is it bolded or the bold? Those bold names or unbolded show that you are in one group. So now, before we could meet like this, I couldn't start putting the experiments we are going to do. So by the end of the week, by today is Friday, by Monday, you should be able to have populated practicals on which date you are doing each practical. So for the whole semester, all scheduled practicals will be put up against your names. So the schedule will be here. Any other question? Yes?
Now, to people who are doing education, we have the lecture down there, which runs from 1 to 3.
On what day again? And again on Monday? Then now, what should I do? I thought,
What I would suggest, maybe you had just need to
no.
do that.
No. Practicals will start at 2. No less, no more. We agreed from the beginning. I even changed Wednesday because of, I think, abstract algebra and some curriculum. Probably. I don't remember why. The original timetable shows that we were supposed to have Wednesday and Friday. I changed to Monday. Friday is a weekend. I'm supposed to live here. Much as you normally see me in my office, when I enter my office, I am home. So never knock my office beyond 5 that you're asking academic things. I'll chase you. Because once it clocks 5 p.m., I go home. But still inside my office. Never. Because if you do it, God will fail you. Never take away anything from the lab. Never look at the wire and it looks nice for you and then you do like this and God will fail you. Have a nice weekend.